Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. Brought to you by Local 59 and their line of steel furniture. See it at local59.com. I'm your host, Dean Gemmel, and in this edition we talk with Cory Naharnie, the lead on Ryan Fry's team, one day after they basically crapped out in Brandon at the Wheat City Classic. Hi, Cory. I want to thank you for being on the show. It looks like you guys might have made a contribution to the Jeff Stoughton Stephen Laycock Fund this weekend. Not your best weekend. Was it just a tough draw, or did you guys just not play very well?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where we actually played quite well, but we just didn't get the right breaks at the right time, I guess. You make some good shots, and then you make some bad shots, I guess, and it all does balance out. But, you know, Jeff was... They weren't playing exactly 100% when they played against us, but when you play a team of that caliber, they can get away with playing 75% and still win games because they do make the shots at the right time. So,
yeah, I mean, you guys had a tough draw. You played Jeff in your second game, then you played the Petryk boys, and then you had Lyburn who won the event last year, so you didn't have an easy road.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, I mean, Jeff qualified through A, Petryk qualified through B, I believe. And then I guess Allen, they didn't quite make it as far as they did last year. But yeah, it's there's some good teams out there, and it's nice to play against teams like that right at the start of the year because then you can actually gauge how we're doing right off the bat. And like I said, we made some good shots, and we just didn't make all the right shots at the right time. And any curler will tell you, I mean, you can be on the wrong side of half an inch here and there, and that can make a world of difference. So,
anything positive you take away from the weekend?
Yeah, we do have a new member of our team this year, Ross McFadden, played with James Kirkness last year. And so this is our first Bonspiel with him, and he fit in like a glove there. It was absolutely perfect. He made a lot of great shots, and the team chemistry was all there too, which is something we figured we'd have right off the bat because we've all known Ross for a while. So it's not like we're taking somebody that we're not too familiar with and putting him into the fire right off the bat. We've all known him for a while, so. And it certainly helps when he's playing really well too. So.
Right, the guy's a lot easier to get along with when he plays well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a good thing. We do know that we're sort of picking up where we left off, at least in that sense.
How much time did you have on the ice before this weekend?
Quite a bit. Ryan was actually thinking we over-practiced. They had the new Asham Arena, which is formerly known as Valor Road, was bought out by Arnold Asham, and he's had ice in there since August 30th. So we've been practicing for nearly a month. And I guess it gets a little bit complacent after practicing over and over and over, and you can only do so many drills and have little four-end practice games. And it does make a bit of a difference. Of course, your technique is a little bit more sound, but once you get into the game situations, you can practice as much as you want, but there's just the little things that make a big difference. And you don't really get to practice those little things when you're just on the ice throwing rocks. So we've had plenty of practice. Ryan thinks it was too much practice, but you can never practice too much, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. At some point, you got to play games, and that's what the first event of the season is about, I guess. So, any of the brand new teams in Manitoba look especially good this weekend?
Mike McEwen looked pretty hot. He was third for James Kirkness. Definitely have to watch out for him. Bill Kern's always a great shooter. And James Kirkness has a new team. Davey Bomer, of course, looks good. I mean, I think you can throw a Davey Bomer with any three curlers, and they would look good. So, there's definitely a few good teams out there. Good younger teams, too. I think that's a big thing that Manitoba has, is a lot of young teams that haven't quite gotten their chance yet to shine on the big stage. Dave Hamblin last year won, I believe it was New Westminster, or he was out in Brandon this weekend, and they're looking good, too. So I think the other provinces got to watch out here. The last few years, I guess, besides Randy doing really well in the Brier last year, people were saying that Manitoba is kind of losing their edge a bit. But I think in these next few years here, you're going to see a lot of new young faces from Manitoba appear on at least the national stage. Maybe not quite the international stage just yet, but of course the national stage.
Well, I think that's it, though. I mean, Manitoba hasn't seen a young team at the Brier, for instance, in quite a while. And I certainly don't want to say that maybe Stoughton's team isn't young anymore, but when Stoughton or Burtnick haven't been there, it's been one of the older veteran teams, I guess. So I know there are a lot of good young teams in Manitoba, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of them break through.
For sure.
What's your next event?
New Westminster. and so we have a weekend off so we can recover a little bit. We have a few aches and bruises here and there, mostly egos, I guess, but I'll take a week off, and then we'll head out there, and that'll be, for me, my first big road trip. The rest of the guys have been out on the tour, and they've performed before, but for me, it's my first event where we're actually getting picked up at the airport and chauffeured around, so that'll be something special for me. I'll be out there with bright eyes, I guess, but for the rest of the guys, it's sort of the same old for them.
Well, you've played with Ryan for a number of years, though, right? I mean, since 2003, 2004, you were with him?
Yeah, Ryan, Kyle, and myself have played on the same team, well, at least 3 years, I guess, sort of off and on for a couple of years. Ryan and Kyle got picked up by Dale Duguid one year after our first year of curling together, and so we played a limited schedule in Russell and Dauphin and a few other bonspiels, and actually qualified. Like, we played quite well for just playing in about 3 bonspiels in the calendar year. But Ryan and Kyle got their experience with Dale Duguid playing in a few of the Grand Slams, and they've also played. Brian played with Vic Peters a couple of years ago. Kyle's played with a number of great teams too, so they've all been around and sort of gained their bumps through curling with other teams like the front end, and Ryan curled third with Vic Peters, I guess, but for me, I'm still kind of green to all this. We played mostly Manitoba bonspiels together.
Right.
And I'm not saying that the competition isn't as good, but I mean, you don't get a chance to play the Kevin Martins and Jeff Stoughtons that often when you're playing in the MCT events. But
right, sure.
But you do gain a lot of experience, and so this will be a bit of a gaining experience kind of year for me. But at the same time, we have played against some big names. We beat Kerry twice last year, and we did get a chance to play Jeff last year, and played Kevin as well. So we have played some of those bigger name teams, and so I'm not going to be as intimidated as I first was when I was playing against those guys.
Well, and you guys lost the final to Select last year.
Yeah, we did, actually.
So, I mean, you certainly had a good run in that. What do you think's a realistic goal for your team this year?
We'd like to make it to a couple of the Grand Slams, and if we do well in our first few bonspiels, I mean, Brandon is already a write-off. We got zero money in that one, but if we do good on our BC swing, we got New Westminster and Kelowna back-to-back, Kamloops, and then Portage to Prairie. They got a big bonspiel out there. You make a few dollars in the first few events, and you have a realistic chance of making it to the slams. And as well, we'd like to make it to the Brier. I mean, after coming so close last year, it's got to be realistic to do it again. I mean, Brent Scales did it. He lost the finals one year, and then he went back and beat Stoughton in the finals the next year. So, I mean, they're sort of, I was talking to them on the weekend, and they were giving me a little vote of confidence, saying, don't worry, you got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win. So, I mean, the slams would be a big one for sure.
Right.
Making it to the Brier would have to be our biggest realistic goal.
Sure.
We've proven to everybody that we don't just talk the talk, we can actually walk the walk now too. So we've got to follow up with a good year this year too.
Okay, last bit, I have a new segment on the show this week where I ask you a question and you get 1 to 2 words max to give me a response on it.
Okay.
It's a rapid-fire segment, so here we go.
Okay.
CCA CBC negotiations.
Ouch.
CBC curling coverage last year.
Poor.
Dave Park's raise-in bonus.
Questionable.
8 ends versus 10.
No good.
The Manitoba Buffalo Crest.
Love it.
Safeway Select format.
Adequate.
Thanks for your time, Cory. I appreciate it. I don't want to say there's a curling show jinx now because Glenn Howard won on the weekend and we had him scheduled too, so it's kind of 50-50 right now.
Oh, great.
So you get scheduled, half the teams win, half the teams lose. We'll try to make that a sort of thing where you get scheduled and you win. So
we'll try and do you proud 2 weeks from now in New Westminster.
All right, good luck.
Thanks a lot, Dean.
Take care.
Bye.
That's Cory Naharnie on The Curling Show, brought to you by Local 59 and their line of steel furniture, available at local59.com. Thanks for listening. Here's some more sweet, rich black pudding.
Feel the power!